Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But science is not. Science is not in the eye of the beholder. I mean, you just run up against facts.
Bill Maher has gone after the Democrats again, and this time it's absolutely brutal. The far-left zealots keep shoving endless woke nonsense down America's throat, and Maher is tearing it apart piece by piece. On a recent episode of Real Time with Bill Maher, he dragged the woke mob through the mud, torching them for glorifying reckless, unhealthy choices. This wasn't comedy, it was a political flamethrower. If you're here for raw, unapologetic truth bombs, hit that subscribe button and let's dive in.
It is interesting, now that we have Ozempic, I hear much less about the body positivity movement, which was always Orwellian. It was always Orwellian to say that being fat was body positivity. It is the exact opposite, or this bullshit about how you could be healthy at any weight.
Right out of the gate, Maher ripped into the woke mob's hypocrisy on obesity, and he didn't hold back. Not long ago, if you even suggested that someone overweight should eat healthier or exercise, you'd be instantly labeled fat-phobic and canceled. Social media was full of influencers glorifying dangerous habits, wrapping it all up in fake body positivity, while the loud, self-righteous woke crowd cheered it on. But now, suddenly everyone's scrambling for Ozempic to drop weight overnight. Turns out, body positivity was never empowerment. It was just another hollow, feel-good sham, pushed by the woke Democrats.
But the reality is that people throughout time have an idea of classical standards of beauty. And in our case, in our civilization, there have been an American standard of beauty that actually reflects what people want. And so
well, fat was in at a time. You can see it in the paintings. But it's when people were poor and food was,
That's right. And in certain cultures, like the Pacific Islander cultures, there's different cultural ramifications. But the reality is that more people would rather be, petite, trim, low body fat than be 500 pounds. And I think that's what
maybe in your white world, but I mean, that's not everybody.
Let's be real. Aside from a few rare cases, being overweight is almost always tied to poor health. It doesn't matter your race, culture, or background. Human biology doesn't bend to political correctness. The rule is simple. Don't take in more fuel than your body can burn. When you do, that extra energy doesn't disappear. It sticks around as fat, putting dangerous strain on your heart, joints, and organs. Over time, those pounds open the door to diabetes, heart disease, and even a shorter life. Health isn't cultural, it's biological. And ignoring that truth isn't just misguided, it's deadly.
Comics from the U.S. will perform at a festival in Saudi Arabia next month. I saw the poster. Wow. Some friends of mine. What does this suggest about how liberals view the country now? Yeah, I mean, some big names. I mean, Whitney Cummings is going over there. I think Bill Burr, Louis C.K. are performing in Saudi Arabia. Wow. I mean, who's going? Is my question.
It seems high risk. It seems like the thing that might end in a public beheading if you say the wrong thing.
I don't think
I would keep the jokes right within the lines. Yeah.
I don't think this is about politics and how they see Saudi Arabia. I think this is about this.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. How much are they being paid?
Saudi Arabia knows how to bribe. They did it with sports. Now they're doing it with comedy?
Yeah.
Wow.
Political principles tend to go out the window when there's enough money on the table.
Maybe Colbert get a job over there.
That's liberalism in a nutshell, loud and proud about their sacred principles until money shows up, and suddenly those principles vanish faster than a campaign promise. Hypocrisy is baked right into the brand. And here's the kicker. This is a country where crossing the line with comedy isn't just career-ending. It can literally cost you your head. Yet these so-called fearless comics don't blink when the checks are fat enough. They'll perform for regimes that jail dissenters and silence critics, then turn around and lecture the rest of us about morality. Sure, Saudi Arabia has introduced reforms, women driving, concerts, cinemas, but let's not kid ourselves. At its core, the kingdom is still deeply conservative and the risks of stepping out of line are brutally real. But to liberals chasing cash, those risks don't matter. Because when money talks, their morality walks.
Remember this, when President Trump ran for office the first time, his big chant at the rally was "lock her up." I was a little bit like, this seems a little extreme, not sure how I feel about this, but after he won, he said something very interesting. He said, that was a campaign thing. Hillary's fine. We're going to all move on. And he didn't actually seek to prosecute his political opponents. But now, over the last 10 years, we've had Russiagate, we've had investigations, we've had indictments, we've had arrests, we've had the mugshot, we'd have a bullet through his ear.
Rufo is onto something big here, and it's not just theory, it's a game plan. He says Trump should stop playing nice and go straight, after the power players running the Democrat machine. And honestly, he's right. In his first term, Trump took the high road, focused on policy, and avoided going after his political enemies. What did that get him? Fake scandals, endless witch hunts, and nonstop persecution. The lesson? In Washington, restraint doesn't earn respect. It paints a target on your back. Rufo's point is clear. Hold them accountable, not out of spite, but to prove no one is above the law and no office is a shield for corruption. That's not revenge. It's just...
I know you've all been told that you can have it all, and you're a queen and a lady boss and that bitch. But maybe your judgy ass is no prize either. And if you jilt a guy for not thinking enough about Black Lives Matter, just tell me this. What have you actually done that made any more of a difference in any black life than what your inadequate ex-fiance did? I asked Senator Adam Schiff here last week when the subject of Trump's sliding poll numbers came up. Okay, but how are the Democrats going to blow it this time? This is how. Posturing, purity tests, the politics of I unfriend you if you're not exactly with me 1,000%.
Yes, the Democrats are still wasting their chance to lead this nation again. And the reason is as obvious as ever. Their obsession with moral showboating. Instead of bringing Americans together around real answers, they climb onto their self-made platforms and talk down to everyone else. It's an old act, but one they just can't seem to stop. Their favorite habit is pushing away half the country that refuses to accept their extreme woke ideas. Regular Americans who care about jobs, safety, and stability are painted as villains simply because they won't repeat the latest progressive slogans. And instead of learning from earlier losses, Democrats dig in deeper, lecturing, shaming, and dividing. In doing so, they're throwing away their best chance to take back power. You'd think after 2016 and 2020, they'd have figured it out, but no. Distance and arrogance remain their main strategy.
Define wokeness, because I hear people use the term all the time, and it means something different to everybody.
Well, again, I think it's this collection of ideas that are not building on liberalism, but very often undoing it. I mean, 5 years ago, Abraham Lincoln was not a controversial figure among liberals. We liked him. Now they take his name off schools and tear down his statues. Really? Lincoln isn't good enough for you? 5-10 years ago, bedrock liberalism was we are striving to be a colorblind society where we don't see race. Of course, we see it, but it doesn't matter. That's not what woke is. Woke is something very different. It's identity politics. We see it all the time. It's always the most important thing. I don't think that's liberalism. I mean, I could mention so many issues like that.
In this clip, Bill Maher doesn't just call out woke culture. He explains why he's determined to challenge it directly. For him, it's not about politics. It's about protecting common sense in a society that's quickly losing touch with reality. Maher argues that woke thinking doesn't just bother people. It slowly erodes the core values that keep communities stable. It swaps truth for ideology, logic for outrage, and merit for identity labels. At its heart, it's against basic reason, forcing people to reject obvious facts just to seem virtuous. And when a culture values lies over honesty, collapse is inevitable. That's why Maher calls it dangerous. It breaks trust, fuels division, and poisons public debate. He's clear. If we don't stand up against it, the woke agenda won't just frustrate us. It will tear apart the very threads that